Beep, when was the last time you powered down for a bit? You seem to be malfunctioning. Well, that's a bit creepy. I'm sorry, Beep, but it's for your own good. You need to rest.
Hello, CJ. Let's begin.
The Exorcist Legion Chapter 1, 2 and 3 review for the PlayStation VR. Let's begin! First up, let's take a look at the gameplay. This is an episodic structured horror game. You play each chapter by selecting it from inside your office. Each chapter has a different demonic entity that you will come face to face with. To move around the world, you do have quite a few options. You can teleport or use free movement, and you can smooth turn or snap turn. You can even select how fast you want to move or turn. The options here are nearly perfect for a VR title. The only problem is that for free movement, you can't turn the blinders off. So each time you move, you are greeted with a black fade around your vision. These options are found on your phone, which is part of your inventory. To scroll through your inventory, you simply push a button. Key items are stored here after they have been picked up. You will be using these often, especially for flame for a light source. Chapter 1 First Rites has you examining a crime scene inside a church. The main aim is to find items that will help you against the supernatural. It's not a massive area that you explore, and is laid out in such a way that I never had to search for items for a long period of time. You can open drawers and pick up quite a few items to take a closer look at. Doing this is very responsive. There is one small puzzle that you encounter, but it really doesn't test your skills much at all. The pacing was perfect, and I did feel uneasy most of the time. Near the end, I got so scared that I was really cowering behind my cross, but I was a little let down by the lack of interaction needed from me in the final moments. Chapter 2 Idle Hands has you performing an exorcism and makes the items that you had collected from the first chapter relevant as it requires you to use them. The environment does feel lacking compared to the first chapters, but it does offer a couple of creepy moments, especially if you're scared of tight spaces. The jump scares didn't really make an impact though, and they were quite predictable. Once again, there is an optional puzzle that you can do, but this won't take much time at all. Overall, it was quite lacking compared to the first chapter, although the pacing is pretty decent once again. Chapter 3 has you saving a baby. It has a larger area to explore than the second chapter, and the backstory told is the best so far. It does however have a couple of pacing issues. There were times when I wasn't sure if I had to collect an item to progress the story, or simply wait for something to happen. There is a lot more interactable objects in this chapter, and again, it does have a small puzzle. The horror doesn't rely too heavily on jump scares this time around, and goes for a more visually scary experience. Each chapter has several objectives for you to complete that are tracked in the main hub. Some of these are optional. Completing all of them won't take long at all, and most of them you will likely complete on your first playthrough. Now let's take a look at how immersive this game is. Most of the environments are quite closed in, which makes the depth amazing, and the image quality is quite clear. Shadows can be quite dark in places. They do make some areas completely black, so using the light from your flame really is necessary. The constant sound of the flame does make exploring the environment a bit more creepy. Your hands actually cast shadows in the world. Seeing them on a wall reminded me I was playing a game. It does hurt the immersion. The hand models are very detailed though, as you can see veins pushing the top of your skin and wrinkles are seen on the palm of your hands. It is some of the most realistic textures that I have seen on hands in a VR game. Some objects in the world can be picked up, and some can't, even though they really do appear like they could be handled. This does happen a lot in these types of games, but it does still take you out of the world ever so slightly. Some of the letters you pick up are unreadable due to the writing being so blurry. You actually miss out on quite a lot of the story because of it, especially in the first chapter, and it is a real shame. Luckily, chapter 3's story is mainly told through audio, so you have a much better understanding of what is going on. The sound design is amazing. It was actually one of the main reasons I felt so tense in each of the chapter's scenarios. It really does give the impression that something sinister is lurking just around the corner. Now let's take a look at the setup and what controllers the game supports. I played this game in a seated position just under 2 meters away from the camera. You will most likely find it easier to pick up items if you play while standing, but as the game has a crouch button, it is possible to play seated and reach items that are low to the ground. The head tracking was fine and the game did not make me feel motion sick. This game can be played with the DualShock controller or 2 Move controllers. When playing with the DualShock controller, you are in control of one hand with the DualShock's motion sensor. Now let's take a look at the length of the game and what trophies come with it. Each chapter took around 20 minutes to beat. It's important to note that I was exploring each area fully, so if you don't pick up every object and have a good look around, your playtime will likely be shorter. Unfortunately, like most episodic games, there is no platinum up for grabs, and achieving 100% shouldn't be too much of a problem. In total, there are 21 trophies that can be achieved. There is 9 bronze, 7 silver, and 5 gold. The trophies are split between each of the chapters. Some do unlock for simply completing the chapter and completing all of the chapter's objectives, but others have you interacting with objects, such as smashing everything that is made of glass in a location. And now it's time for the verdict. This really isn't an experience title, as it does have a few gameplay elements and interactable objects that carry over from chapter to chapter. But because of each chapter's length, the bite-sized nature almost feels like it should be classed as an experience title. Most of the time the chapters do get the pacing right, and each location did creep me out. But I can't help but feel I would have been more involved in each area if I knew more about the backstory. It is such a shame that you can't read some of the text documents, as you will miss out on big chunks of the story. This is another game where you can pop it on to quickly scare family members and friends. The optional objectives try to add a bit of replayability, but they don't offer much variation to really warrant a second playthrough unless you're a trophy hunter. If you're looking for a deep horror experience, you won't find it here, and the small locations will likely disappoint. Chapter 1 and Chapter 3 are certainly better experiences than Chapter 2, but even then, I would class these 2 chapters as simply decent. They did scare me, so the game did achieve what it set out to do, but it was all over far too quickly. If Chapter 4 and 5 are the same length, it will be very hard to recommend this episodic series at the full asking price. I bring forth all my pro-gaming energy and demand it to release Beep from this evil!
You really thought that would work?
Fair enough. Move motion! It's really not what it looks like.